As windsurf coaches, we get asked a lot of questions, but by far the most common questions are to do with harness and our foot straps. So on this Windsurf at Home video today, that's what I'd like to go through with you. I do have other videos online as well explaining the harness and foot straps that I will link into this video. So if you're watching, look out for the cards on the top right hand side of the screen, I think over here, and they will link you to the appropriate videos to follow this one up. First of all, let's look at our setup, and then we're going to look at the harness. The setup I'm using, I've got a board down on the floor. Now we want to look after our board, so make sure you put it on something soft. I've got a board bag, I've got a towel, I've also got a little bit of cardboard wrapped in a tarpaulin. That's going to make the board safe when I put it down onto the floor. I'm using a reel sail here. It doesn't have to be very big. In fact, you could use your rope rig or your ghost rig that I showed you how to make in a previous video. Holding the sail up, I have it attached to a roof rack strap. If you don't have a roof rack strap, you could use a bit of rope, but make sure it's a nice strong bit of rope that you trust. And I've attached it to my front door using one of the door jambs for a TRX. Doesn't have to be one of those. If you have something secure you can fix it to, a hook or a railing, strong post, that will work very well. You could even use a tree. If we're using the harness, it's very important that we get a harness that fits well. It needs to be snug and tight to our body. We want to be able to breathe and move easily, but what we want to make sure is that as our body moves, the harness moves, and it doesn't ride all the way up to our chest. If you are looking at buying a harness, my recommendation to you would be to try on as many harnesses as possible. We are all different shapes and different sizes, so the same harness for me might not suit someone else. So try on as many as possible that doesn't move around and fits you nice and snug. Consider wearing it, if you're in a hot climate, wearing it with just a t-shirt. If you have colder conditions, consider what it's going to feel like when you're wearing a wetsuit, as you'll need your harness to be slightly bigger. Getting the right harness makes a massive difference to your windsurfing. So first thing, when we're using the harness, we need to have a little bit of power in the sail so that I can start to use my body to drop against the sail and we balance each other. If I don't have enough power, I'm going to be stood really upright and it's going to be very easy for me to get pulled over the front because I have an upright body position. We have a little bit more power in the sail, not too much. We can start to drop our body weight down against the sail and we balance each other. When it comes to hooking in, if I need a little bit more control, turn the board closer to the wind. If I need more power, push with your feet to turn the board away from the wind. Rather than pulling my body up to hook in, which will pull me over, try and keep as much weight running down through the boom and the mast foot to pin the board flat. I'm going to bend my arms, pulling down, keeping the weight on the boom as I lift my hips and drop down into the lines. As I do this, keep your head up and try and look upwind for the gusts. And back out into my windsurfing stance. What makes a good windsurfing stance? We're going to think about two things: keeping your head up, looking upwind slightly. I can still see forwards, but looking upwind I can see the gusts, I can see the lulls, I can anticipate what's going to happen next, and it moves my body outboard away from the sail. Number two, I want you to think about getting your hips down and out. One of the key problems I see is people have their hips up and you lose the harness lines. If I get my hips down, my weight is transferred from my feet through the lines, through the boom, and down onto that mast foot pressure. This is going to be vital when it comes to using our foot straps. While you're in your harness, I want you to keep your head up and your hips down. Also keep your front leg pushing straighter on the board. This will help to guide the board forwards in a straight line. Arms very relaxed on the boom. The harness is doing 99% of the work for you. From here, head up, hips down, front leg straight. I want us to move our hips forwards and backwards. Swinging the hips forwards, swinging the hips backwards. Noticing I'm keeping the weight in the harness lines as I do this. I don't even need my hands. Head is up, hips are down, front leg is straight. I'm swinging the hips forwards and back. Hands on the boom, resting lightly. When we're windsurfing along and the board picks up speed, we need to start moving further out along the board, and we also move further back. Keep the weight down in your harness lines to keep the board flat. Try and pin the board flat on the water with mast foot pressure. Eventually you'll find you're picking up speed and your feet are right next to the foot straps. So let's look at how to get into them. First of all, front foot. If you need more power, push with your front leg to drive the board downwind and go faster. Before I move my foot, I need to take the weight off of it. So hips move back slightly, foot goes light, it just comes back, in. Straighten the leg again. Back foot needs to go in. The hips need to come forwards. We need to be careful that as I do this, I don't get catapulted around the front. So before I swing my hips forwards, turn the board upwind slightly so that we gain some control. Hips will come forwards, the back foot goes light, it can come out and into the straps. Once you're there, push away with the front leg to maintain your speed, and all the way throughout this, I've kept my hips down and my weight in the harness lines. Let's look at it one more time. Head up, hips down. As I accelerate, I'm keeping the weight in the harness lines and I move further out and back along the board. I'm going to do this one-handed just so you can see more of my harness keeping the weight in the lines. I find the foot straps with my feet. I'm not looking. I keep my head steady. Front foot in, the hips will slide backwards, swinging back, front foot in. Before I put my back foot in, turn upwind slightly for control. Hips can come forwards, keeping the weight on the harness lines, back foot will slide in. Down in the harness, keep the head up, drive through a straight front leg, and enjoy playing it. It's even possible to train this inside. I've just got a roof rack strap, a door jamb, and my board. Braced against something. You're going to hook it and hang out. While you're hanging out, swing your hips forwards and backwards. keeping your head up. If you can't train outside, we can find a way to train inside.